even a person who commits a crime and is convicted, when they come out, the whole effort used to be on rehabilitation, that they are able to reintegrate, that you don't corner them so that they have no option but to, find extra legal means for their survival. You didn't want that. This is distorting. This is definitely distorting. So for a person, for instance, you have an Identification of Prisoners Act. That law says that, a person, when they are a prisoner, their biometrics will be kept with them. When they leave the prison after having served a sentence, it will be erased. The law says you will erase that, that record, because that person is no longer a criminal. The person is no longer a convict. They're a free person. That freedom stands compromised if we don't have any norms at all. We make a choice, for instance, because of the way things were moving, we made a choice saying that the children, juveniles, the persons below a certain age, they should not, when they are being subjected to the legal justice, legal process under the juvenile justice law, that should not be made public, because you give children a chance when they get into adulthood to leave this behind them. That's part of the way we treat ourselves as civilized people. Some of them become contentious. For instance, after the Tukaram and Ganpat rape case, which is otherwise unfortunately popularly known as the Mathura case in the late 70s, which raised a whole host of questions about what happens to women who are victims of rape. One of the things that happened was the law changed, and in the change in the law, they said that the information about the victim, the identity of the victim, should always be hidden. You should not make it public, and people should not be able to trace back to the person who was the victim of rape. This was both a protection and respect for what it was, what the person had gone through, and saying that you want to be able to leave the person to start and do what they want with their lives. You don't want the victim to be re-victimized by this process. If you take the earlier style of dissemination of information, where you'll have, say, newspapers, you'll have, there is an editor. The editor will look at it. What that newspaper is about. Where it's coming from. What it is saying and why it's saying what it's saying over a period of time. And we keep having these battles about the difference between news and opinions. Then, factually, when they are wrong, over a period of time, they lose their credibility. None of that applies anymore when you have this platformization, because the platforms, the search engine, the companies don't take responsibility for content. They're just saying we are providing a procedure for you, and whatever there is, we are just amassing on. And that is what is causing this problem. That's one thing. And the other thing is that there is no distinction in terms of period. The risk in a conversation being cast in these terms is that because we are so focused on victims of this and people who are adversely affected, we forget that there is another reason why we want the internet to be free and open. And that is that there are many people who we need to know more about. And there are many cases about which we need to know. There are many activities and institutions that we need to know about. And these need to be public. The reason we support the free internet is because they make it possible for us to see all these people who otherwise, because of their power or their proximity to power, are able to hide themselves and give themselves various kinds of protections. So I think any kind of system that we are thinking of should account for this, that we expect the internet to be free and open. We expect that people, powerful people, the movement of money, the movement of people with money, the movement of power with money, all of these should be transparent and open for everyone to see. And that's why we support a free internet. The idea that we are just a platform. We don't have any responsibilities beyond this. We don't need to verify anything. We don't need to worry about who we are affecting. And the idea of the algorithm, where algorithms are created. They can be created in a way where they can, for instance, if on YouTube, you're going to have this actress's thing being pulled down by the producer, that it can keep being brought back and reintroduced. is something that an algorithm should be able to pick up. If you don't know how to create an algorithm of that kind, you're admitting to a deep failing in your system, and to call yourself a world, whatever, is really not all right. So what is the purpose of an algorithm? And that an algorithm should be open, because otherwise it's not going to be, this idea that, I support the idea of open source, because when sources get closed, they become privatized, and then it becomes the interest of the person who is holding that source. So when we are, I don't think we should be thinking in terms of should we make certain things taboo on the internet, as much as saying that you can't hide behind platformization, and you can't hide behind the algorithm when this creates victims. You can't hide behind the platform and the algorithm when it is shielding people who ought not to be shielded.